Hello, lovelies! Voiceover Mina here with the first video of March Miniature Madness 2024. And as you can see from this box, you can't tell what we're building. There's no indication of what is inside, but I already know because this was my Christmas present from Bestie, not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before. I intended to make this back in 2023, and then for whatever reason, it never got done. So this is the first kit that I'm building in 2024. Yeah. Okay, let's open it up and see what's inside. And ta-da! It's a miniature box theater. I really like these. This one specifically is Cherry Blossoms, which, love it. Okay, so it comes with like everything. There's like the little tree and the little grass, and then a bunch of like paper things and fabric, beads, little wooden bits. That's some sand. Yes, I got a bag of sand in this box. There's some more little wooden bits, the electrical stuff, and there's the box, the little tin. I love these little kits because you can just close the lid and it keeps the dust out. And then when you want to enjoy it, you open the lid and it's fabulous. I love it. So this little booklet is also the instructions, and these are really, really nice. They include like a list of everything that you're supposed to get and step-by-step breakdown of how to put everything together. It's not perfect. It's a little bit vague, some of the instructions. But considering the first kit I ever got was like completely in a foreign language, I don't know if it was like Chinese or Korean, or I don't remember where the kit came from. But now they're like printed in English, so you can actually read and you don't have to just go by the pictures, which makes it much easier. So the first step is to prep the tin, and for that, there's this little background that gets glued in. That's pre-printed and it's from the back of the book. I'll show that a little bit later. The glue that I'm using is a really good glue. I don't know if it's like actually good quality, but it does the job really well. It's very similar to the glue that was included in the first kit I ever got. Since then, no glue has come in the kits. It's apparently dangerous to mail. And even though this kit didn't come from a store. This one came from an online site. Yeah, so it definitely would have been mailed. But even the kits that come from stores, I don't often get glue in them. Probably because they have to be mailed from wherever warehouse the store is buying them. But anyway, I digress. The glue that I'm using is very similar to the glue that used to come in the kits, and it actually came from little wooden craft kits from Dollar Tree. Things like birdhouses, boats, planes, that kind of stuff. Those are all leftovers from the builds that my son made, the little glue bottles that I'm now using. Anyway, so I've glued in the wooden base pieces, and now I am threading the lights and putting the base for the actual like miniature diorama. I really like this kit because it has a nice big opening to get the battery box in and out so I can replace the batteries, and it's got a little hole for the light switch. The first kit I made, you have to like dig the switch out of the hole, which is not really convenient and risks like screwing with the wiring. This is much nicer. That base piece, oh, that was a tight fit. That really tested the glue. I was afraid that sticking that in place was going to like pop everything else out. It didn't though, thank goodness. And it did pop into place. Like literally there was like It was a really tight squeeze. But I eventually got it in and nothing else fell apart. So, phew, thank goodness. In the kit, or in the instructions, it mentions testing the lights first. I mean, if the lights don't work, what are you going to do? It's not like it comes with an extra set of lights just in case. But anyway, I highly recommend doing that. And that's why there's batteries already in there. Okay, so here's the pages at the back that I was telling you about that have the pre-printed images. And these are just things like backgrounds and accessories. It's got like, there's like a little ground piece that we'll get to eventually. Right now, I think that's supposed to be like trays, placemats and stuff that I'm cutting out right now. It tells you in the instructions as you go along what you need and when. And it's really tiny and fiddly to cut out. But it's nice that it's like already there. I don't have to paint anything or make anything. It's, it's already done for me. I just need to cut it out, which is really nice. It's just really fiddly. And as you can see, it doesn't always make it on camera because this stuff is so tiny. Props go to people who film these kind of videos all the time, because that is so difficult, trying to make sure that things are like in frame for you to watch, but like close enough that I can see what I'm doing, and for things to be like not blurry and well lit. Yeah, it's really difficult. These things are tiny. Very, very tiny. So freaking tiny. I almost went cross-eyed doing this part. So what I'm cutting right now is a teeny tiny, it's like I don't know what it's made out of. Some sort of clay or something. It's like a little bead. And as small as it was, I needed to cut it into 3, which worked out so well. As you can see, that middle piece busted in half. That was fun. Those are going to end up being like little dessert pieces. And there's a little green piece. You can see it if I lift my finger at some point. There, the little green one. That one, I think, was like a eraser because it had that rubbery texture. But the yellow one that I was just cutting and the little pink one that's beside the green, they were firmer. So I think they were like little beads or something. And what I tried to do is glued things and constructed pieces as I sort of cut them, so that I didn't have little bits all over the place to get completely lost if I happen to like sneeze or something. So that little busted piece, I ended up gluing both pieces to that little tray separately. I just kind of squished them together and made them look like it was still one piece. It was the best I could do. But good enough is good enough around here, isn't it? Yep. Oh yeah, so that little piece that I'm going to pick up right there. Yeah, look how tiny that is. That's the center of the third of that already small yellow bead thing. On that tiny little plate, I just had to cut out like the little center kiwi bit. I wasn't kidding when I said I almost went cross-eyed. This was kind of fun though. And yeah, once I got all the stuff together, I'm not showing every single step of this because that would just take forever. There would be way more footage than I want to have to sift through to edit and that you would ever want to watch. So I'm just kind of showing a highlight, but as you can see, you couldn't see what I was doing. I like to share the good, the bad, and the ugly. So that's the good. came together very nice. It looks beautiful. And, you know, the bad was when you couldn't see what I was doing because too small. Now I'm building, they called this a table, but I think it's supposed to be, and I believe it's pronounced kotatsu. It's a little heated table that's very popular in Japan. I know this because it's one of the items that you can buy to attract cats when you're playing Neko Atsume, or Kitty Collector, which is a very simple but very enjoyable game. I come back to it every so often just because it's a little mobile game. I'm not sponsored or anything. This is all my opinion. This is all ever my opinion. Anyway, what I had to do with this thing though is, so you glue the top on, and then you're gluing the feet, and then you have to like pinch the corners to make the fabric like square, and so that it looks like the sides of the table, like the fabric is going down. So I ended up using these clamps, which is ridiculous and looks way too big, but actually worked really, really well. I was quite happy with how that turned out. And now I'm gluing, what am I gluing? Oh, beads to represent cups, and that tiny little plate with tiny little delicacies. That's going to go in like, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like a tea room or a living room. I don't know if it matters. I don't know if anything matters. Okay, so here's the back again. This page is all for patterns. So each color corresponds to a different fabric or paper. And when I was cutting this out, I realized that, oops, that there was a pattern there for the tablecloth, for the table that I just finished. But whatever, I did that without the pattern. Yep, as much as I try to follow these instructions, sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. But isn't that life? So here's how you use the patterns. You take your paper or fabric or whatever you need the pattern for. And I like to cut like the top and the side off the pattern so I can match it up to the top and the side of the paper or the fabric. And that way I know I'm getting like the nice edges instead of just putting the paper on and just cutting it willy-nilly. By lining it up to at least one edge, then I know I'm getting like straight shapes. And then you just cut out the rest of what you need. So how are you doing, lovelies? I mentioned in my last video that I have not been doing good, and yeah, that's true. I can't really pinpoint, there wasn't like one particular occurrence in February that sent me over the edge. It was just, I don't know, February as a whole was just, it was just a meh month. You know what I mean? I just haven't had the motivation to really do anything. I say this as I'm recording the voiceover for a video that I filmed like completely in February. We're not even in March yet, and this video is basically done. I don't know, I needed to do something fun. Okay, so back to the project. This is the background for the house. So I'm just gluing the wooden pieces to the little house background to like build it up and turn it from a picture into like a three-dimensional house. It comes together. Isn't that cute? See, there's like the little green piece for the floor. I didn't do that on camera. I don't know why. Doesn't matter. So this is the main floor. This is going to end up being like the tea room or the living room, or I'm not sure exactly what. And this is how you get the pieces out. They come on this like sheet already like pre-laser cut, and you just have to separate the tiny little bits that hold them to the frame and pop them out. Being careful, of course, because at that scale they could easily snap, but they're pretty easy to cut out. And then you just sand the little nubs off so that they'll line up to whatever they need to line up to, or like lay smooth if they need to lay smooth. And now I'm gluing the two together. This is going to end up being a closet, I guess. That little hair thing that's sticking up is driving me nuts. I'm going to reach through the screen and take that off. I'm not sure if that's from the paper or if that's from the wood. Might have been a little sliver from when I sanded. I kept this in because I thought that was cool how you could see what I'm doing in shadow, because I was holding the piece too high up so I could actually see what I was doing. This was another moment. That closet piece did not want to fit. It was really snug, and I was afraid the whole thing was going to fall apart. It didn't, thankfully. Once again, the glue came in clutch. I was going to say, are the kids still saying that? But I don't even care anymore. Slang is made up. Who cares? Yep. Just gluing all the little pieces together. This part was really difficult. Gluing the wood to wood was easy, but then gluing the wood to wood and paper, the paper didn't always want to behave, obviously, because it's not like as sturdy. So while the little house is drying, I'm just going back to the tin and working on the top. It's got this really pretty little background with a little story that doesn't quite make sense because the translation is off just a little bit. These little shapes have like dotted lines to show you where you're meant to fold things together. This one I changed up a little bit. I didn't like it. Like, it has this really pretty, like that round seal with the wave on it, and then these cherry blossoms. And the way they show it in the instruction manual, you're basically putting the cherry blossoms right on top of the wave, so then you can't see the wave. So what's the point in putting the wave on? Yeah, so I angled them a little bit so that you could see both. And then, I don't know if you can tell, like way at the back, you can kind of see what it's supposed to look like from the book. And they've got the envelope on the other side. But I did not like that, because the size of the envelope and this little book that I'm now folding, they were too big for where they were supposed to go. Like, the envelope was supposed to go on the other side, and that would have covered up the cherry tree. And then this little book that I'm building was supposed to go in front of the temple that's on that background, but then it would have completely covered up the temple. So I switched them, because it's my kit and I can do what I want. Yeah. This is a pretty cool little book, though. I really liked that. It's just, to make the pages, you're just accordion folding, and then you just glue it in the little book in the cover. Just like if you've ever made a book for a miniature. Yeah, mental health has not been good this month. I don't know, anybody else feel it? There's like a total lack of just anything. I feel like I'm in prolonged hibernation and I just can't get out of it. Like, I just don't even want to get out of it. There's stuff I could be doing, there's stuff I should be doing, and I don't have the motivation or even the energy to do it. I think even if I had the motivation, I wouldn't have the energy to do it. Okay, so this part is the roof tiles for the little house. And the first ones I cut out, I cut on the like ridged perforated part, or corrugated. Yeah, the corrugated part, because it's like cardboard. Anyway, I found it easier to cut on the flat side. You just have to make sure that you're reversing if you need to reverse the pattern, that you're reversing the pattern as well as the paper that you're cutting. Otherwise, you might have angles going in the wrong direction. And these were pretty fiddly, and you can't really see them get glued because my thumb's in the way because it's that small. And I'm sorry, as much as I want you to see it, I need to see it because I'm the one building. Yep, and now we're out of frame, or now we're blurry. We're in frame, but we're not in focus because apparently my camera wanted you to look at my thumb instead of what I'm actually doing. Okay, so how I was building the kit this time is I was going by the instructions and like step 1, step 2, step 3, flip, step 4, and then putting it all together. And I don't usually like to do that. And I really discovered why, because it's a mess. Like there's stuff everywhere, and I don't like to throw pieces out in case I've cut something wrong and I need, to cut another piece or whatever. And so it just ends up everywhere. Usually what I like to do is I'll build the biggest pieces first. And then as I build, I'll put it in like the box or in the kit. And then I build something else and put it in the kit. And then I build something else. As opposed to like building all the little pieces and then putting it in the kit. I hated this process. It was such a stressful mess. It was a good motivation to keep working on the project, though, because with everything spread out all over the place, I couldn't use my desk for anything else. So it had to get done. And this grass stuff, ooh, it was both fun and a pain in the butt. It was nice in that, like, it staticked, like it had static cling. So when you would pick up a clump, it would be a clump. So it was kind of nice to work with. But at the same time, it was so small and it got everywhere. Okay, so I was supposed to do all of the lighting at first, but I didn't. I was putting it off because I wanted to hot glue the lights to the tin. I figured with the metal tin, hot glue would stick better than the other glue, and I was right. But I don't know, I didn't want to pull out my hot glue gun. So that was pretty much one of the last things that I did. This little piece goes in front of the battery box, and I wish I had tested this before I built the rest of the base because it didn't fit. So I had to go in with my craft knife and cut like the tiniest little slivers and just like shave it down because otherwise it wouldn't fit. And they're going to have to cut another little piece, and it was just back and forth, cutting off the smallest little bit just to get. And in the end, I had to take off the little cherry blossom pink label thing. Like, see how there's 2 pieces of wood? I had to take the 1 piece of wood off because it ended up being too thick and I couldn't close the lid. That would have been a nice thing to do before, but oh well. This is the little hill for like the train. I think it's supposed to be like a train station or something. And now, to glue in the house. Oh, this part was satisfying. Okay, in this case, I like the fact that I didn't have the house in the kit when I was building it, because there were a lot of really tiny pieces that if I had of, and like that tin kept falling over, it was really hard to work with. So it was actually a good idea to build the house in its entirety before putting it into the kit, because it would have been that much more difficult to put them in the house in the kit. Yep, and I'm testing to see there's a couple little holes that you cut out in the background, and it matches up with the lights, so I was just checking to make sure that that worked. It's a little fiddly. Speaking of fiddly, there's rocks that have to be glued into, or well, it doesn't have to, but it's part of the instructions. You glue some rocks into the background, The rocks were in the same bag as the sand, and there's like nothing in the kit to help you sort or sift these things. You just have to go in with your tweezers and pick out all the freaking little rocks. I tried sprinkling the sand with my fingers. That ended up being a mess. So I just dumped it from the bag. That was better. Because there was like a little pathway. It's like a little rocky trail. And then the little train. I built that off camera, obviously. And then the little tree. Oh, the little tree was a pain in the butt, too. Having to cut all the little pieces. Because you have to be so careful to cut like the little branches, but not destroy all the little blossoms, which were weird. They were kind of paper, but also weirdly like stockings. They were like pantyhose kind of fabric. It was, I don't know, it was weird. Yep, and that's a reality of gluing stuff in. Sometimes it just, the tree didn't like where it was going, so it yeeted itself out of the kit. But I was able to wrangle it and got it where it needed to be eventually. Ta-da! It's done. Isn't it cute? He's so tiny. So there's the top. And there's the bottom. With the lights. Now you can see inside the spot that I had to cut out and match the lights up to. It came together so adorably. I love this little kit. And the fact that you can just close the lid and put it away and you don't have to worry about dust getting in it. I love it. Makes me very, very happy. The last thing to be made with this kit was this. Came as 2 little pre-cut wooden pieces. And this piece goes in those holes there, like so that you can put your kit like so and display it on a shelf with a little bear-shaped holder. Something else that I found out that I really, really like. Okay, first, both good and bad. So I like how the bottom has a designated spot, a little hole for the light switch. And then a separate little spot that pops out so you can get to the battery box to replace the batteries if you have to. The thing I don't like about this is how tight of a squeeze this part is. It's both too tight and too loose. So if I'm not careful, it'll pop out. And I couldn't put the, what do you call it? I couldn't put the little nameplate on top. That won't fit. I can't close the kit completely with that there. But I do like the plain, that nice minty green across the bottom. That is really pretty. So it's not a huge big deal. It's just kind of a bummer that I don't get to use that part. Now, I did make a little bit of a whoopsie, which means that I can't actually close the kit like this. Because, as well, if you'll remember, I made a little switch up here. These cherry blossoms were supposed to completely cover this wave, and then this little envelope was supposed to go over here, and this book was supposed to go over here. My problem with that is that the book would have completely covered the temple, and this little envelope would have completely covered and been lost by the cherry blossoms. So I switched those around. The only problem now is where the book hits. It's like right there. So when I try to close, it won't close all the way. But there is a little bit of a solution. See what I mean? Anyway, I'll get that later. So the solution is that this adorable little book... Oh no! I dropped it. It has a little hidden magnet that gets glued right in the back cover. So when I want to close the kit, I can just move the book out of the way where it will fit, and then the box closes completely. So yeah, I really like that. Well, this was my first make one of these kit videos. Not my first kit, clearly. I have a few of them up there. There's the other little box kit up behind the manatee there on the top shelf. It was fun to share the process of how this little kit came together. Yeah, as for the little chat, as soon as I sat down to do the voiceover, I couldn't pinpoint the words, the feelings, the everything, just poof. I don't know exactly why February sucked as much as it did, at least for me. I hope your February was so much better than mine was. I think a big part of it was the fact that we've had like no winter here. There have been a few days where we've got some snowfall and it's been really pretty and I've been able to get out and frolic in it, but it hasn't stuck around. I haven't been able to go out tobogganing. I haven't been able to make a snowman. I really haven't been able to enjoy the snow because it has stuck around for such a short period of time every time it falls that I feel rushed to get out and enjoy it and do what I can while it's there, that I don't even want to. It's like that. Have you ever been in a situation where someone is like, you must do this? Like, you're going to do the dishes. And even if that was something that was on your to-do list and you were very much planning on doing that thing, as soon as someone says you have to do it, nope, don't want to do it. It's not getting done. And it was the same way with the snow. As soon as I felt pressure to get out and enjoy the snow because it was only going to be around for a blip, suddenly I don't want to do it. I want to enjoy the snow on my terms, not because I feel like I have to. And yeah, so that created a whole bunch of contention and not nice feelings, and it contributed to my depression and anxiety and trauma responses and all the rest. It's been, yeah. And not having a good deep freeze has really unsettled me. I need winter to like reset. And we didn't get that. And now a part of me is terrified about what summer's going to be like. Because generally where I live, if you have a mild winter, it's an extreme summer. Extreme winter, mild summer. This was the most mild winter we have had in a long time. Last summer was already pretty hot. How much more extreme are we going to get? Like I don't do good in summer. Heat and humidity, well, not so much the heat, but the humidity makes me physically ill. Like if I spend too much time outside on a humid day, I feel physically oppressed and vomitous and dizzy, and it's not good. So, yeah. I'm really scared about what this summer is going to be like. That's contributed to it. Also, this has been a really weird winter too, now that I think about it. Not just the fact that we haven't really had a winter, but I have been like in deep hibernation mode. Like I have not wanted to do anything. Has anybody else felt like that? Sure, February has been pretty, I got, my 2 videos out and I did all that, the crafting, I made the outfits and I constructed this whole kit in, while we were still in February, and I got most of this video done while we were still in February. We're now officially in March, so happy March Miniature Madness. But like the bulk of that was done in February. I started the next March Miniature Madness video while we were still in February. So like it has been Unlike January, it was a month that I remember. Like January, did it happen? I don't know. Can't prove it by me. It was like, view, gone. February, on the other hand, like I actually remember, and I got a lot done. But at the same time, I have gotten nothing done. And I have felt this way pretty much since November. Like November hit, and I went into hibernation mode. I don't know what it is, but either way, it contributed to my mental health, which was not good, and that's part of why February sucked. We also had the dryer break, a lot of creepy crawlies. It's just been. Oh, I hope March is better. We've only just begun, so there's lots of promise. Come on, March. Be better than your predecessor. Better than the last two. Oh, I hope so. Okay, well, that'll do it for me. Cherry Blossom Box Theater kit is done and super adorable, and I love it. And I hope you enjoyed watching me put this together. If you've made it right to the end of the video, thank you very much, lovelies. Your presence is very much appreciated. I hope that February didn't treat you bad. And if it did, I hope March treats you far better. And if February treated you well, I hope March continues to treat you well. Because you know what? We all deserve it. Okay, well, I'm going to find a place to put this. Not on the shelf, clearly, because I'm out of space. I'm out of shelves. And yet I'm building more. Well, I'm going to find a place to put this. And then move on to the next build. I'll see you in my next video, lovelies. Until then, stay fabulous, stay safe, and know that you're loved. Bye!